Very concerning. Ashley Strohmeyer in New York. Ashley, thank you. So, as she said, we're getting low on energy, but according to President Biden, there's a bunch of blame to go around. Let's bring in former New York State Senator David Carlucci and former National Republican Congressional Committee Communications Director Matt Gorman. Gentlemen, welcome to you both. Matt, to you first. I mean, the Oil and Gas Association is a little bit baffled, as you might have heard from our conversations with Ashley and Kevin, because the president now wants to dictate how much oil they produce, and at the same time saying, oh, by the way, you know, we're going to phase oil out down the line. It's a little bit concerning. Your thoughts?
Yeah, they should be confused, because it seems like whenever oil prices drop a little bit, Biden thumps his chest and takes credit. When they go up, well, it's Putin's fault. It's somebody else's fault. But look, we got to remember, on day one, they canceled the Keystone Pipeline, suspended oil and gas drilling in Anwar, and canceled a bunch of leases in the Gulf of Mexico. When they wonder why we're not producing more oil, they need to look in the mirror. They're the ones that are causing this.
Yeah, and the blame game really is, it gets a lot even for Democrats on this whole thing, David, because people are like, they're not buying it. When they look at the numbers, you can see they're not buying it. And the administration somehow is convinced that they're selling exactly what the Democrats want.
Well, President Biden is being very clear with the oil and gas companies. The fact is that they've made record profits, and now Exxon is talking about giving back to the American people by putting it into dividends. I mean, talk about out of touch. And President Biden is putting them on notice to say enough is enough. We're talking about the blame game. The oil companies have talked about supply chain. They've talked about the war in the Ukraine. But now we say they're giving back by putting it in their dividends. I mean, come on. So President Biden, I think, is saying the right thing, is saying, look, you got to reinvest in the American economy or we're going to tax you.
But as the oil companies have said over and over again, David, that's not how it works. And there's a cost ratio that they figure into all of this. And the president's got that wrong. I want to go on to the economy, because you look at these ABC Ipsos polls, and the first one says the single most important issue of the economy, put this on the screen, the issue is the economy, followed by inflation at 22%. You follow that up with which party would do a better job handling inflation. And you see right there, they trust the GOP at 38%. The Democrats way behind at 21%. Those are like dog numbers, David. When you look at these things, 21% to 38%, that is a massive gap. Your thoughts?
Well, there's no question that inflation is an incumbent killer. And with that said, President Biden has done a remarkable job in pushing back. When we just compare inflation to around the world and we see how the United States is doing better than the rest of the world, it's not an excuse, but it's an example to show that what the president can do, he's doing. Whether or not the Republicans are supporting him in Congress, he's finding ways to move forward and reduce that burden for the American people.
Do you feel like the president, Matt, is doing what he's supposed to be doing? Because if you look at those polls, a lot of Democrats don't think he is.
Well, first of all, they want to blame Republicans in Congress, but last time I checked, Democrats have complete control. They passed both their $1 trillion in spending through party line votes and reconciliation. Again, they're just trying to throw spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks. They realize now, after talking about all these other issues, 50%, if you combine those top two polling numbers on the inflation in the economy, are the most important issue. They're careening from message to message, trying to figure out what works with a week to go.
And I want to go into the last thing here, more polling numbers, and this is the president's approval rating. You put these up there, and you see in the Biden battleground approval, his approval in Arizona, 36%, Nevada, 38%, Georgia, 39%, Pennsylvania, 42%. Candidates really have to rise above on this, David, so they can get to where they want to go. Because if you're going on just the president's approval, it looks bleak for a lot of Senate candidates. Final words from both.
Well, I think you're right. I think the candidates have seen this, and they've done a good job to distance themselves and say, hey, look, elect me to Washington, and I'll be independent. Yes, I'll be a Democrat, but I won't be lockstep with the president. So I think when we head into the election next week, the Democrats are going to do better than expected.
I don't get it, though, Matt, because, you know, on one hand, you have David saying, oh, Biden's doing everything right. And the other hand, he's saying, yeah, they're doing their yeoman's work by avoiding him like the plague. Your final thoughts?
Look at all those states you just listed off. Where is Biden going in his final week? California and Maryland. Not exactly swing states.
Yeah. David, Matt, gentlemen, thank you.